It's better to be hurt by someone you know accidentally than by a stranger on purpose.
How's it going, guys? It's your boy Random Tall Guy. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe, support the channel. Welcome everybody. In today's video, I'm working on the 2010 Jeep Patriot, and I'm trying to figure out why cylinder 1 is misfiring. I pull up my scan tool because I got a check engine light, and I got a code P0301, I believe, and it's telling me that cylinder number 1 is misfiring. So in today's video, we're gonna diagnose this and try to figure out what's causing it. The first thing I always like to do is check the spark plugs, especially for a high mileage vehicle like this one. The first thing that goes is a spark plug. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at that. It only takes a couple of seconds, so that's the reason why I'm checking that. First thing first, we're gonna go ahead and remove the cover. You're just gonna go ahead and just pry it out. Move to the side. There's no screws or anything we have to remove for that. Next thing we wanna remove is the coil pack right here. So in case you need to know, passenger side, this is cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4. Cylinder number 1 is going to be closest to the passenger seat, just in case you guys need to know. So we're going to go ahead and squeeze the connector, pull it out, put it to the side. Alright, next we need to remove this coil pack in order to access the spark plug. So we have to remove this one, I think it's a T30 bolt head. We have to remove that out of the way. And there is the bolt, don't lose it. Alright, and then we can go ahead and just pull it out. Now the second thing I always like checking is this coil pack boot here. Make sure that there's no oil residue anywhere. Make sure that it's not drenched in oil or anything, because a common issue is that the O-ring for this valve cover, the O-ring will go bad, and that will cause oil to leak down, and it will basically cover up the spark plug, making a bad connection between the coil pack and the spark plug, which can lead to misfires. So you always want to look down there, and in my case it's nice and dry. It actually looks brand new, so the O-ring is good for me, and that is not causing the misfire. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and remove the spark plug. For this one you want to use a 60mm spark plug socket, and we're gonna go ahead and bring it down in there and make sure it's nice and seated. Now also, you never want to remove a spark plug when the engine is hot, because these aluminum heads, the threads, they tend to be extremely weak when you try to remove a spark plug when the engine is hot. Make sure it's stone cold. Do not remove it when it's extremely hot or it was running a couple of seconds ago. Do not remove it, because you could ruining the threads on the aluminum head, which that's going to be a really bad day. If you guys don't even have a tool to fix that, you have to bring it into a shop and then have to re-thread the hole. So always remove spark plugs when the engine is cold. Alright guys, so I was able to pull out the spark plug. If you take a look at it, it looks nice and dry. There's honestly not that much carbon buildup on it, but if you look at it closely, the electrode right here in the middle, the electrode, it looks like it's chewed up a little bit, so the gap is bigger than normal. I can't find my gap reader, but I know for a fact this gap is too big. So I'm believing the spark plug is causing the issue. Once again, this is, I believe these spark plugs had never been replaced, and the car has 180,000 miles. So I think it's time for some new spark plugs. Alright guys, so that being said, I'm going to replace the 4 spark plugs, and then I'm going to reuse the coil packs, and then I'm going to clear the code, drive it around. If the code comes back, then the next step I'm going to do, I'm going to test the coil pack. Honestly, if you don't have any special tools, the best way to test it is just to swap the coil packs. Put number 1 over here and number 2 over here, and then just rerun the car, clear the code. If the misfire disappears for cylinder number 1 but then reappears for number 2, then obviously is the coil pack. So that's one easiest way to check to see if one of these are bad. So that being said, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go ahead and get some plugs. Alright guys, so I came back from the parts store, so I picked up one of these gap readers, also gap openers for these spark plugs, and we're just gonna see how bad of a gap this is. Now, for the 2010 Jeep Patriot, the spark plug gap cannot pass 0.044 of an inch. So we're just gonna go ahead and we're just gonna get our gap reader and we're just gonna read it. So we're just gonna put it at the thinnest side, just drag it until it stops. And it looks like it stopped around close to, the camera's not picking it up, so it's close to 0.070 of an inch. So this gap is way too big. So alright, so we're gonna replace it with a new one. This is a new one right here. Now, as I mentioned, the spec for the spark plug gap is supposed to be 0.044. So we're just gonna take our reader and we're just gonna double check. Alright, and it looks like it stopped exactly at 0.044. So this gap is good. We don't need to adjust it anything. We're gonna go ahead and put it in. Alright guys, so that being said, I got 4 new spark plugs, so I'm gonna go ahead and just replace all of them. And the good thing about these spark plugs, they have a lifetime warranty, so it's good for about 100,000 miles. So I'm gonna go ahead and install the new ones, put the coil packs back on. Then I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the car. I'm gonna go ahead and drive it and see if the error cleared. Alright guys, and we are done. So I went ahead and I changed out the 4 spark plugs. I put the original coil packs back on. I guess a tip is don't over torque the spark plugs at all. You want to snug it up and then just give it a good little, just a small tug to make sure that they're torqued down. And then same thing with these 4 bolts here for the coil packs. Don't torque it down too much because this is plastic right here. And I think it's a big pain in the ass replacing this whole valve cover just because you decided to over torque one of these fasteners, because right here, this right here, the housing for the bolts are all plastic, so you want to be really careful on that. But overall, pretty simple. This is something a beginner mechanic can do. That's what I love about these 4 bangers, because it's super simple. It's right here. There's no special tools. There's no swivel socket you need or anything like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna check the oil real quick since I'm already here, and then we're gonna go ahead and start it up and see what happens. All right, so the oil level is good, but it is getting a little dark, but it's not that bad. All right, last thing, you want to go ahead and put the cover back on. There's basically little stubs right here. You just want to line it up with the holes here, right there. Just line it up. It should be fine. You can always use the oil cap as a reference. There we go. I feel like I should clean the engine bay one of these days. Just give it a quick rinse down. All right, make sure there's no tools here. All right, and I forgot to mention when I first made a video on this Jeep Patriot is that this one is a special edition. This is the one that has the Freedom Drive 2, because this one has the low gear off-road option right here. And honestly, this transmission setup is extremely rare to find, because I was looking through Google, I was looking at used car lots, I was looking all over the place, and it is extremely hard to find a Jeep Patriot with the low off-road option. So basically, if you discover any Jeep Patriot that has the Freedom Drive 2 option, you basically will have a lower gear for off-road. You will have a recovery hook in the back bumper. I believe you're supposed to have like a skid plate in the front. Also, there's supposed to be, I believe the suspension is supposed to be tuned up where you're supposed to be higher than, you're supposed to be basically lifted like a half an inch higher than a regular Jeep Patriot. So I didn't know that. So this is a rare find. So I guess we're gonna keep this. Alright guys, so it's been a couple of minutes. The engine sounds nice now. I don't hear any weird banging noise or any weird shaking. The car is idling perfectly fine. I think I've resolved the issue. Of course, there's still a check engine light there. My scan tool is in the other Jeep, so I need to go get it. But I think I've resolved the issue, so I'm gonna end the video here. If the misfire issue comes back on, then I'm gonna make a updated video and we can go from there. Alright guys, so that being said, I'm gonna end the video here. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing. And as always guys, stay safe, have a good one. Bye bye.